Every ounce of your being is made up of molecules of energy vibrating at different frequencies that determine your experience here on planet Earth.
This podcast's intention is to inspire you to elevate the vibration of your energy for yourself and for all of us. This is The Elevator.
Hop on in and ride into the ethers with Britt and Tara of Elevate the Globe. Welcome back to the elevator, guys. And we're so excited about today's guest. And we had such a great time recording up in Santa Barbara.
Yeah, we actually spent all day up there with Scott. We went up on a Sunday and we spent all morning at his house recording. And he's just moved into a new home and it's beautiful. And he showed us around Santa Barbara and took us to the juice. What is it called? The Juice Ranch?
Yeah.
And he took us to a kombucha bar and it was just lovely to be in his presence all day because we just love what he's doing in the world and his mission and how radiant and bright he is and how there's so much depth within him to kind of unpack. So he's a special human.
So a little bit more about Scott. He is the owner and founder of Sun Potion, and he developed the company really through his own transformational experience with the foods. So he shares all about this in today's episode. It's so inspiring. So he has a background in Rolfing, which is structural integration, kind of like body work. And he really began to notice profound shifts in his own body and consciousness when he added in tonic herbs and superfoods to his diet. So he really was able to transcend and have optimal states of well-being, which he's sustained in his line of work, which we will say was very impressive. Like he was not on his phone once. And to be a owner and CEO, founder of a huge company, and to be so present was really impressive to us.
And all day too.
All day.
All day.
Yeah. So, this line, Sun Potion, really evolved from Scott's personal motivation to source the highest quality tonic herbs, algae, greens, and mushrooms from around the globe. And he said it was perhaps selfishly, but it's because that's what he wanted in his body. So he has really shared this with others and brings this high quality to the world with these herbs. And so he really shares so much about this in our episode today. And it is really, really, really incredible information. So many golden nuggets. His story is really inspiring and so informative. So we can't wait for you to listen.
And we know you're going to love this show because Sun Potion's vision and mission is very aligned with Elevate the Globe, and elevating humanity. And their vision is to share these transformational foods and activate radiant health for their global community. So what a beautiful alignment here.
Oh my God. Obsessed.
Yes.
And we love their products, by the way.
We do. So today's episode is sponsored by Thrive Market.
Yes. It's an amazing, super cheap health food store online. And we love it so much. We've been using it a lot because it's literally an online market that gives 20 to 50% off. And it's all organic. It's literally like a Costco for organic and natural products. So it's been really helpful for us as we're getting more efficient in life and having more balance in general. We've been doing a lot of the delivery services and we love Thrive because it has some of our favorite brands. Not only does it have the best organic products at a discounted price, but they also ship fast and free. So you have a membership fee, but you really get it back in savings or else they actually pay the difference. So it's super cool. And another great thing that we love, love, love is that when you join, they donate a membership to a family in need.
Yeah.
Elevate the Globe approved on all fronts. So we put together a blog post with some of our favorite products that we've been using so you guys can check it out. We really wanted to share some of our favorite products that we love and that we use and show you the cool discounts that we've been getting on them and save you guys some time too.
And you can find Sun Potion on Thrive Market.
Yes.
Just a little saying.
Oh God. And if you guys haven't tried Sun Potion,
yes,
it is incredible. So good and really will transform your life. So click the link in our show notes to check all of it out and to join Thrive Market.
So without further ado, we hope you enjoy today's episode with Scott Linde.
All right, welcome back, guys, to the elevator. And we're here with Scott, founder of Sun Potion, and just a multifaceted, beautiful individual that we love. And so we're here in Santa Barbara, and we want to welcome you to the podcast.
Good day.
Yes.
It's nice to be here.
So we've done an amazing tour of the home.
Welcome to the Scott Museum.
It is like that a little bit, yes.
They got an intimate tour of the yard and the plants and the garden and the landscaping. And now we're inside and we're ready to go.
Yeah, Scott made us some awesome tea and showed us all the rooms in his house. And he has like an outdoor shower he's making. And all his showers are unbelievable. I'm like, this is like my dream. Anyway.
And we've been playing chakra drums.
Special ADA bathroom with no walls in the shower. Just like.
Pretty much. So the first question we always ask people on the elevator is if you could give a little elevator pitch about who you are and what you're doing in the world.
Straight from your mouth.
Just a quick one, Scott.
A quick one,
Just a quick, yeah.
So I basically am here to just have a nice time, be of service, be helpful, show up, participate. I do that through this project called Sun Potion, and we offer tonic herbs to people that they make into tea and potions and hopefully have as a part of their daily participatory, preventative, how to feel awesome kind of lifestyle.
Yes. And that's how we use them. And we love the yin powder and so many. Well, we want to try a lot more, but we love the yin.
Do your listeners know what Sun Potion is?
Well, I think it would be cool to hear it from you. I'm sure most of them do know, but yes.
In brief, these are glass jars with powdered, concentrated, mostly single ingredient herbs inside. These herbs are considered tonic herbs, meaning they're meant to be had in small servings daily over a long period of time. They're generally categorized as like longevity herbs or things that help modulate your immune system or balance your hormones. These are things that are kind of amorphous in the way that they support the body or help the body. In other words, you don't just take one thing and it does one specific thing. These are like plant chemistries that when we add them to the body, they help the body to be more adaptable to stressors or circumstances or life or things like that.
And to be able to hold higher frequencies in the body.
Yeah, so you can inhabit more of your being. You can kind of, instead of going elevator, back to ground floor, elevator, back to ground floor. Because we have these peak experiences.
We do, yeah.
You guys get all super spun on your kundalini and you go quantum and then you're like, find yourself in the grocery store and you're going, oh, I feel normal now.
That's true, yeah. That's why we have to do a lot of grounding.
So, yeah, you do some of those practices to help integrate those things.
Definitely.
And those practices are also kind of like helping to change the frequency in your body so you can just kind of change or adapt or affect your own vibe.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Just with some tonics.
Well, or your practices.
And kundalini.
Or your kundalini.
Everything, really.
I don't do kundalini, but I hear it's nice.
Have you tried it before?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
All the arm stuff up and down, and I'm like a wimp. I don't know.
You gotta keep up, Scott.
It's like, really? This is a lot of up and down.
You probably just did like an arm upper chakra set.
They're all different.
Totally.
That's funny. Well, we appreciate what you're doing and everything that you're offering with Sun Potion, and it's really cool that you have such a conscious company. And so we'd love to hear a little bit about your journey and kind of who you were before you started Sun Potion and the whole birthing of how it kind of came into existence.
Well, great question. You know, I noticed the part about who I was before I started Sun Potion. There's like elements of what we're doing with the brand that it's been really fun to express them through the company, because they're just like traits or things that I've learned over the years that I really enjoy or appreciate about myself, that I'm able to kind of have a project to kind of pour them into. So for instance, since I was young, I really appreciated and respected very like nice quality things that were made with attention to detail, things that were done with like artistry or craft or design or inherent like tangible quality that you could either see or experience or feel or taste. And so, a specific example of that would be like I was in cross-country skiing and other long-distance sports and cycling and stuff all through high school and through college. And boy, the absolutely like tangible difference between a set of like carbon fiber, like full badass set of cross-country skis and poles and gear that is like for somebody that would wear that at like the Olympics, the difference between that and like an entry set of recreational ski gear that, you might use a few times a year and go and shuffle around out on the lake or on some tundra somewhere just as a means of getting out and enjoying some nature. Totally different. One is like riding on a razor blade and one is like, pushing 2x4s down the trail. And if you have the training and the skill to be able to like leverage the difference, because it's actually way harder to use the stuff that's good.
I'm sure. Yeah, especially in that instance.
You can have these such amazing peak experiences of grace and balance and silently sliding through the woods.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's interesting because we were talking prior to getting on and you were saying, we were talking about Planetary beans and where we, have heard we've been from and whatever. And we asked Scott, where are you from then, do you think? Or where have you spent time? And he's like, I'm here on the earth. I'm here.
I'm a planetary being.
And so I love that because you're like, you're here and you're enjoying all of the beauty and the artistry here on the planet. And I would say Sun Potion, that is one thing that I really love about it, is it's really beautiful. So having it in your house, like it can even be sitting out and it feels like a piece of artwork sitting on your counter. So, I mean, it's kind of showing through in everything. And even in your home, it's this most beautiful place that is, you can tell has put a lot of thought and love into it. And a lot of creative energy has gone into this. So yeah.
Thank you. That's so nice of you.
Yeah. You're like oozing it.
It's really nice to have people over to the house.
Yeah.
Because, the house too is like a thing where you get like a opportunity to kind of express details and choices and filters and all these kinds of things. It's like there's a filter on the front door and there's only things that I want in the house that come in the house.
I love that.
Yeah.
I had a family member stay here a couple of months ago and I didn't realize till my sister arrived that I actually didn't own another blanket. And it was cold out at night, so I was like, giving her these big wool coats and stuff to put on top of the on top of the sheets. We're from Minnesota though, so like this kind of hardship, it's okay.
Yeah, she's used to much colder.
But so, and I was, she's here for a few days, and I was doing other things. I was entertaining as well as taking care of some of the business and stuff. And she went out and got bless her, she went to like just a store in town and got like a comforter. But then I didn't know what to do with the comforter when she left. Because I was like, oh no.
You wouldn't have chosen that.
It wasn't on the same frequency.
I wouldn't want to lay on it myself.
No, I hear you.
I get that.
Because there is a difference in the feeling of like a natural fiber on your skin.
So true.
You don't have to have a dozen pairs of sheets, but if you can have one pair of Koyuchi sheets or one pair of Young Maven, like full hemp organic bedding, then you have like a totally different experience of your sleep. It's like amazing.
So true.
It is. Yeah. I actually experienced that. My mom brought some, like a side table when I first moved in. And I was like, no. This has to get out of the house right now. And she was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was like affecting you so much. I'm like, I can't, it's not cute. I cannot. She's like, well, just leave it there until you have and something new that you like. I was like, I'd rather not have anything than have something I don't like and have. And she was like, oh God, sorry.
So cellularly offensive.
I know. And then I was like, I'm sorry, Mom, it's not you, it's the table. It's, but kind of, right?
Yeah.
It's affected. It will affect you. Yeah.
So, these things are...
They're real.
And when we talk about the jar and the label, it's like that too. I want the things that we create with the company to be like things that are beautiful to look at, that have balance and symmetry and can be present in a picture of other things and still fit. And so like you look at someone's closet or their pantry or their kitchen where they're making their food and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think everybody has somewhere where they make like something in the morning, even if you're living in a studio or something. You have like, you can't leave the house without having some water or something.
Yeah, most people.
So, yeah. So where people have those places, it's like an opportunity. I see it as an opportunity to help encourage like a attitude of you can make a temple in your house. You can have some place that's like special and beautiful and balanced and has quality and is respectful to you and yourself and the other people that you have in your house that you want to share with. Even if we were I had a little studio here and we were coming over, or this was my personal office, we would still have a tea set or some kind of a little kit there to have some hospitality. So if it looks good and it can sit on the counter without making a eyesore,
it is
that's
beautiful.
Good.
Yeah.
And there's symbology and things on there that are like balanced and have a nice, there's a human, like a race memory or a gene memory of like, oh, that thing, I remember that from, it's just a nice thing. The wings, the serpent, the sun.
How did you come up with that? Was it kind of channeled through you or?
No, I don't have any responsibility for that.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Like not on a personal me level.
Okay.
But the name itself and the logo is kind of something that when all the preparation was ready, it's just like it naturally was that name. And it kind of came out. It just made so much sense that would be the name. And Sun Potion with those wings and Transformational Foods. The way that the name and the wording of that kind of physically came together or auditorially came into form was with myself and two friends. Okay. And it was right at the end of my time living in Ohio, and I was about to leave there, but I had this idea for this project. So we ate a bunch of the herbs and had tea, and then went and sat outside in this beautiful sun in like January. It was warm sun, like imagine like 11 a.m., like super glorious in a grapefruit orchard, really beautiful. And so one friend just wrote down popcorn. We popcorned all these different words and colors and symbols and feelings and things that we liked and sounds and things. And she just wrote it all down. And then basically we started putting and combining and crossing out words after she had filled the whole page, or after we together, the three of us, had filled the page. And then in the end, it was Sun Potion. And then right away, this idea of, transformational foods. And then those wings like swung down, like on a pendulum, and just like kind of hit me in the face. And so, yeah, that's how that happened.
Wow.
And at that time, too, there was a lot of like very, like, it was almost like a spontaneous explosion of momentum of this, like, because there had been this cultivated time of learning and experiencing and studying and getting immersed into different things and having a varied background and having teachers and having time with myself to learn about myself, time with the herbs to learn about the herbs, time with nature, all this kind of stuff without really knowing what a lot of that was for, like what the end purpose of these things. On the surface, maybe my parents God bless them, they're so nice. They just like loved me. They were patient. They weren't like,
What are you doing?
like exactly like that. So, years of that went by. And then one day it was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. We could just, and then it was like, and all this stuff just came out really fast.
So were you always interested in herbs and stuff prior to that? Like, were you drawn to that, or was it
plants,
just plants?
wildcrafting, essential oils, flowers, migratory bird things in nature, I grew up with like a swamp behind my house and a lake in the front. And so we had great bald eagle, we had golden eagles, we had herons, we had night fish, we had all these different these are freshwater birds, but like nature experiences all the time.
Wow.
So
you were just always into it. It was always around you.
Yeah.
So were you kind of searching for something to kind of come through you, or did it just kind of hit you?
Oh, I wanted to have like give me a job. Or
give me a job.
Yeah, I want a mission, or like, I was committed to like staying in stasis as long as necessary for me to understand what it was I was supposed to do next.
Right.
And there were things I was taking action during that time, but the general like overtone of things was that I'm not going to start working at a job that I don't know what the purpose is. I'm not going to like I kind of stepped off the treadmill and went, I'm just going to
chill and wait and do the things.
Yeah, and do things.
Yeah.
Like actively be like absorbing and doing like as a sponge, kind of just like receive.
Right. And then you received it. And then it was like a massive explosion.
All kinds of different stuff. And then when and then it took maybe at some point a friend came to town and was like, dude, no more workshops, man. Like, stop it.
That sounds like Brett's experience.
Yeah, like stop reading, stop listening to these audiobooks, stop going to all these workshops.
Yes.
Like, you're just distracting yourself and you're delaying whatever it is that you're, like, it's been 5 years now. Like, want to come back a little bit down to the earth. And so I think that was like a little bit of a snap, like wake up call moment. And that day he drove me over to Santa Barbara and I moved here 3 days later.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
I was like not opposed to action. I was totally down to like go all in on different things. And that was happening all along, but it was nice to have a moment of clarity that was then informed by a bunch of past experience. It made it really easy to know, and on an intuitive like knowing level, like I didn't have to figure anything out because it was like already there.
Because you had like slowed down and you were working on all the things that you needed to do to set it in place. Yeah. And then you were able to receive it. How fast did it move after you were kind of delivered it?
I moved here to Santa Barbara in February 1st of maybe 2010 or 2011. And February 10th, my birthday. Oh, and like basically days before that was when that name experience happened.
Oh.
And days before that, like maybe a few days after the name experience, that was my friend came to town.
Okay.
And that was the same friend that gave me that the little magician magic.
Okay.
Music
what
box.
Is that? Is it a wizard?
I thought it was
it's a wizard.
Oh, it's a wizard.
But you have to tell people that story real quick.
So I had this music box that I thought, my memory was that it was a nightlight, but it turns out it's a music box. But I had it in my room when I was growing up as a kid, and I just was like this thing that I always loved at my parents' house. And after getting this house last fall, I was over at a friend's house. He's like my fairy godfather, California, West Coast, woo-woo, spiritual kind of buddy friend who's maybe 75 or 78 maybe now. But this was like, I met him maybe 12 or 13 years ago. And so anyways, I went over to his house and he had like sinking down into the dirt in the garden off the patio there, this little like pyramid-shaped wizard with a hat and like stars hanging from its hat. It's like a ceramic thing. And I said, "Oh, I had that in my house when I was growing up, in my bedroom." And he's like, "Oh, that's your housewarming gift." So I like pulled it out of the dirt and dusted it off. He had no idea where it ever came from.
He found you again, the wizard.
Yeah.
That was so cool. So did you meet this man? And because I know you talked about having a lot of spiritual experiences. Like, we know you went to John of God and you went to another, I think it was a healer in Ojai, or is that a temple that you were talking about?
Not a temple, but I was, there's this like kind of like interest to be connected with spirit. So that was around from when I was young.
Okay.
And, it showed up in different ways. You kind of go through some of the more traditional, like structured training of different systems. Mm-hmm. And then you can move into more esoteric stuff, I guess. I don't know. If you're in Minnesota and you want to go hang out with God, you pretty much go to church. That's like
Definitely
what they do there.
Yeah.
At least when I was growing up, that was kind of what we had access to. So did a bit of that, kind of graduated at some point, something a little more open. Was really into going to like the Zen Center when I was still in high school. I went to a Catholic school, so we'd take like world religions classes, and I get really into these world religion ideas. So learning about different traditions and backgrounds. Mm-hmm. When I moved to LA, I found going to Agape, which was probably the highlight of my 3 years in LA, was attending Agape and like learning from Michael Beckwith and his wife Ricky and some of the different people that come through there. And that's where I met Jimmy he was a member there, he and his wife. And we met at like a Jack Canfield conference. And Jack Canfield is from Santa Barbara here.
Oh, okay.
Really?
But as a gesture of spirit, let's say, my dad's a dentist in Minnesota, and someone gave him, like, put on this dental posting board, like, I have this free ticket to some Jack Canfield thing in LA. I don't want to go. Can anybody want to use this? And my dad saw that and was like, "Oh, my son lives in LA. Let's see if he wants to go." So I went, and like,
what was it? Just a conference?
A 5-day conference. So it was like $5,000 or something to attend. But I got a free ticket. And just as a point of reference, like, I drove my minivan to the conference, and then I slept in the minivan in the parking lot.
I love it.
And then I'd go and like kind of ninja my way into the pool in the morning and like take a swim.
Take a swim, yeah.
To kind of like get the refresh before the day. And then I'd go back to the conference, and this guy, Jimmy, and his wife were in a little small breakout group, and we became instant friends and then stayed in touch after that event. And when I left LA after being there for 3 years, it was after being in Hawaii with Jimmy, where he and his wife were staying on Oahu for the winter. I came back and totaled a new car that I had just bought like less than a month earlier, and had a like nervous system, couldn't handle it anymore, LA moment.
Okay.
So I had to like immediately evacuate Los Angeles.
Okay.
Then, and there's Jimmy going, "Why don't you go and check out Harbin and just sit in the spring water up there, and it'll help heal your soft tissue trauma from your organs getting jostled around and your brain getting shocked in this car accident." And then I stayed at Harbin for a while.
Where is that, by the way? Just north of here?
It's in Lake County, north of San Francisco.
Okay.
And it's burned down now, but for years it was this amazing hot spring location, and people would come from all over the state and go there, and major hippie enclave, major like nature connection people there. They had a lot of dance community things there. I was telling you prior to the online conversation here about the Watsu that they developed there, which is like a water floating healing massage modality, which is pretty cool. So
sounds seriously amazing.
Here's like, you put yourself out there in the world, and I think that there's such an advantage to making yourself available to like having friends of all age ranges and mentors and guides, and being available to like how spirit is going to show up in your life, because maybe isn't always how we would expect it to be. And this guy, Jim Wilson, as an example, was someone who like showed up, became friends, and then has had a perennial, ongoing, supportive role in my life. I mean, after the Watsu stuff, I went to Oregon for 4 months and went dispersion camping and mountain biking. I rode up there with Jimmy. I helped him unpack all of his stuff into this beautiful house in Eugene, he and his wife. And then I used their place as like home base, and I'd kind of pop back there after I, really needed to like sleep in a normal bed or something for a couple of weeks. Then he recommended then I went with him back down to Southern California to go on some errand, just a little adventure.
Okay.
And we stopped at Mount Madonna in Santa Cruz.
We were there.
And I
we
totally,
were there.
Yeah.
And I like totally fell in love with this really wonderful woman there, and like I ended up staying there for 6 months.
Okay.
And then at some point, it was like, I'm living kind of almost outside, and there was like snow, and it was cold and intense kind of Santa Cruz mountain winter, big storms and stuff. So I was looking at, I don't want to move back to LA, but I want to be in a little bit more soft environment.
Yeah.
So then here's Jimmy again going, oh, well, why don't you go to the Ojai Foundation? It's great down there. So again, then you go, okay, I'll do that. I'd never been there, had never heard of Ojai, had never been to Ojai. Here I'd lived in LA for years, didn't like an outing was going to Malibu in the summer. There's so much amazing stuff outside of LA that's so close. And you would never know unless you go there.
So true.
So, look at that. There's mountains over there.
Yeah. And it
I
took
wonder
us
what the hell's on top.
an hour and 20 minutes to get here.
It's not even
crazy.
So, I guess as it relates to tea and all these things, it's kind of like just making oneself available to life and listening to your spirit and showing up and being nice. And
and sometimes it's like slowing down too. Like being away from kind of the city for you is like, affecting your nervous system. So like you said, stepping off the treadmill, I feel like that's a big, big thing for a lot of people.
And too, I think I was like a little bit in my LA time there, like a little bit like losing my grip on things, right?
Yeah.
Was not able to access nature, was not spending time outside, was driving an hour in tons of traffic, less than 10 miles each way to my job where I worked as a real estate guy, and stoned to the bone all the time because it was like so much cars and so much motion and so much stuff. I had to just do something to like buffer my contact with all this kind of chaos that was going on outside of me. So I was just high all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Just stoned on marijuana all the time. And, you can do that for years, I guess, but it's like not particularly happy coming home from my real estate job, getting to my house. I mean, one cool thing is that my hobby was like grocery shopping, and I lived 2 blocks from the Air One on Beverly. So I learned about organic food from shopping after work in Air One. And that was like a total eye-opening experience there. But I would like then go home and watch like 3 or 4 episodes of Law and Order.
It's so funny. It's like, you're so not that person now. And it's like a normal thing.
But
TV and I are so dangerous. I have no control. I don't keep a TV at the house. I was the kid who, when I was growing up, was begging my parents if we could put the TV out with the trash.
Really?
But it's because I have my brain like goes to mush, and I become totally vortexed into the TV if it's around.
I kind of get that way.
Yeah.
Like that old joke about I can't afford to watch TV.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't afford.
Yeah. But it's true. It does.
The brain space it takes when TV and I interact.
Because you just are gone for 8 hours.
It sucks
Something, I guess. I don't know. But I mean,
just another one.
But you step back from those times in your life and you go like, wow, that was so deep. I wonder if I really want to do that the rest of my life.
Right.
And then you can have a moment where you're like, oh.
So for you, you had to get out and go be in like the hot springs and get back to nature and like slow down. Mm-hmm. And then you were able to get the message.
When I remembered what it was like, right? Because I was growing up with that. And then there's like a couple years of seemed like somewhat disconnected. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, I knew at some moment I was like, nature. Yes. Soil, outside, barefoot.
Yeah.
Really important.
Yeah.
So true. I feel like we find that at the beach in LA. Like we live in Manhattan Beach, El Segundo. But I totally did what you were talking about before too. I lived in West Hollywood and drove to Studio City and did the ad sales, driving all around LA for, 12 hours a day. And it really does. I feel like it's difficult to not use some sort of coping mechanism to help yourself, so a lot of people turn to drugs, whether it be, like a downer or an upper to help manage the stress, because when you're not by nature and you're not connecting to yourself and you're just like on the go 24/7, it's like you get sucked into the TV or whatever habits it may be a lot of times.
Fillers.
Yes, the fillers.
Now we have a company with no fillers.
No fillers.
No additives. No sweeteners. Fuck that shit. It's so garbage.
But you have to go back to the earth.
I just want all like pure best.
Yes. But I think for somebody to be able to bring, products like Sun Potion and meditation and things like that, if they are still in that hectic life, can really help people to stay balanced. Because a lot of people do still live that, commuting type of life. And
oh my God. Yeah. I mean, a lot of us, and I have so much empathy because I've experienced that really on deep cellular levels for periods of my life. And I don't want to sound like super unrealistic, this idea of like, oh, just go and go stay in your tent somewhere,
Right.
That is a little bit, that's a big commitment to do something like that. And so it's not for everybody. But I also can say, in my experience, it's possible to have like a very transcendent, direct, super tangible experience of nature in an environment where you're not connected with nature physically directly. And one way that I found to do that was through the herbs. And I found that while I was deeply in nature, but also it's like that openness to that and receptivity of that made it even more tangible for me to be able to see it and feel it and have it all in my body in a way that I could really experience. And, now I can go out and go to New York and be in the city and have my tea and my herbs, and I can feel that really
deeply
significant. Yeah. And so I just encourage people, if they find themselves in a situation, maybe they are they want to make some kind of change or have some kind of or maybe they're happy where they're at, but life can always be nicer.
It can always be nicer and bigger and wider and better.
And we can always feel more gratitude and we can always feel more pleased about how we're showing up and the people we have in our life and taking time to notice things. And a lot of these, this is like the nectar of life, right? I mean, these kinds of things are like qualities of a nice life.
They are.
And so I found that if I have tonic herbs, in this case, if I have Sun Potion every day, then I'm more inclined to experience more of that. And it's not like it's all the time. It's not like life still doesn't have challenges. I said earlier, I had all this reserved information and experience, so I knew what to do when I started the business. Well, yeah, for the first couple of weeks.
Isn't that funny? That's what happens.
It's called work. And then you got to figure some stuff out, which,
back you to knew that. The whole herb part, but then it's there's this whole other business part.
It was year 3, I think, before it occurred to me to check on taxes.
Right though? Oh yeah.
Taxes.
Legal stuff, huh?
Well, you can go back and fix all that stuff. It's just if you're like if you're in a place where your perspective is to always do the next right thing, the next best thing, the next thing that's going to be of the most service to the business, to the most service to the people that the business serves, then you can make adjustments along the way. And like, I went through a couple months of like figuring out how to do 3 years of back taxes, and then learned how to do that. And then we got through that hiccup, you know?
Yeah.
And there's like constant things all the time. It's like a creative deconstruction.
Right.
Of the business is like a mechanism. It's like a mechanical thing that moves and does these functions. It also has like a biology and a like organicness to it. So there's like, as it's growing, it's simultaneously like parts of the thing is like doesn't work anymore. The structure doesn't support the weight of the new organism or whatever. So all along the way, there's breakdowns.
Always.
Yeah. And I've had periods of like not really knowing how to metabolize that and not really knowing what to do with it, but just the commitment and the work and the like waking up at 4 a.m. with a stomach ache because I'm like stressed about not knowing the answer to like some problem that's happening or some situation or I'm learning that they're called opportunities.
All about the language, huh?
You know, these are perspectives
So
that, you
true.
know, at the time it's just like...
You're like, it's 4 a.m. and I'm sick.
The labels keep melting in the printer's printing machine because it's like 95 degrees in Santa Barbara and the printer is like super pissed because we keep literally breaking their machine and we can't get any labels printed from them and I don't know how we're... You know, but then you figure it out and then
it's fine.
You don't use that label. You don't use that printer anymore. You upgrade the system to not have to rely on that weakness.
Right.
This is going to happen all the time. The weakest thing breaks.
So true. Yeah. And then you upgrade it and have something stronger.
Yeah.
I know. It's interesting as we've grown in our business, and I specifically have so much more appreciation for everybody and anybody out there who creates anything.
I know.
And has a business, because as a consumer, before you actually do the back end of everything, I feel like it's hard to understand everything that actually goes into it. And so I'm just in awe of, you know, the YouTubers and everybody out there who has any sort of product or service, because it's a lot and it's such a labor of love to create anything.
Oh my God, a 20-minute YouTube video in Marbella racing around in your sports car or like going on like with drones and all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of production going into that. And they have like staff and they have a team and they travel around and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It is.
I have no idea how to do that.
No, it is. So yeah, it's cool to see it and just have that appreciation for all artists in all different forms.
There's always 200 more things behind the scene than what you see. And like a 20-minute YouTube video probably takes like 3 hours to edit. At least.
Oh my God, I would think at least, right? And there's like,
it's like we've done it. We're like, oh man, our yoga videos sometimes take 8 hours.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of time and energy, but you just do it because you love it so much. And sometimes I get so stressed out, but I'm like, I don't care because it's just going to be better every time.
Like, how could you ever get someone to do all this shit?
Right? Yeah.
The easy answer is good luck. You can't. There's no way to do that. You could never pay an employee to do what a founder does.
No.
To support the passion, the project, the commitment, I don't know.
And that's why you love
everything.
it, right? That's why it's like you find something that you really love, or that's built upon your past experiences and all these things that really is something you can sustain and wake up at 4 a.m. with a stomach ache and still want to do it the next day. And, it's like, that's why people say that you have to love what you're doing, because there's so much more that goes into it than just like starting it up.
And the final product. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't want to disparage. We have some really nice employees that do a really, really good job. So it's
we
like,
do too.
When I think about it myself, like I wouldn't show up this way for someone else's
Right. Yeah.
Definitely.
thing they were excited about, you know?
Yeah.
So it goes back to that, like, you know, asking
Mm-hmm.
and then like doing active things to kind of prime the situation to have, you know, some of the tools and stuff that you're going to need whenever the answer does come.
Yep.
And then being available and listening and being sensitive enough and being present enough to notice when there's a message that comes in. And then you can take full action and be like fully committed in on it.
Right.
And then it's easy. It's like all the hard stuff becomes just stuff that is a part of getting through the next thing.
Right.
I love that. And I love how much trust you had too. Like you just were like, okay, this man I met is telling me to go here. This is what I'm going to do. And like, that takes a lot of trust.
Yeah. There was one year, I think I did almost a year. I think I did a year of just saying, I said, I made a choice and I said, this year, I'm going to say yes to everything.
Wow.
I had one of those years too. How was your year?
It was really good.
Was it good?
There was some like weird stuff that showed up, but mostly it was like really awesome. And I just did that. I said, you know, discernment, there's still like,
Yes.
but also
Something.
I'm like
Boundaries.
thinking of what that could be.
but what I found was that when I made that commitment to do that, then I was like putting myself into a trust of the spirit and teams and energetic things and surroundings and even, you know, people that I was putting myself around and stuff like that, that was going to be a beneficial experience for my evolution or development or elevation.
Right.
Yeah.
There's the elevator. So all of these herb concoctions that you have, right? So how did you kind of come up with these? I know you were doing a lot of
individual ones.
Yeah. You know, like how did all these kind of pop out? Were these just like done with your research or?
Well, they're like certain herbs you can grow a lot of different places around the world, and others are more specific. They want to have certain kind of altitude and mineralization of the soil and just different elemental sort of things that you can't always control when you're farming a lot of different places. So it's kind of depending on the herb, depending on the plant, there's like a way to handle that material that's kind of best for that particular plant. So the things that you would do for having a best quality example of chlorella are different than the things you would do for having a best quality example of spirulina.
Right.
They're similar. They're both algae. They're both green. They're both good for you. There's probably a lot of other things that they're similar, but there's also significant differences. They're not the same algae. One is single cell, one is multi-cell. One forms in ribbons, one is like little dots. The chlorella, you would either have to polish it or grind it because it has like a hard shell around each algae. So on a like cellular level, you have to break the cell. But with Sun Potion's chlorella, we use fresh water, and they apply pressure and like in the liquid, and then they ping sound frequency into the tank, and it shatters the resonant frequency shatters the cell walls of the chlorella cells.
Oh my gosh.
Which is like so cool.
Yeah.
What?
You're getting like
Egyptian.
little like Shamu like pings. Dolphin songs.
Yeah.
To break the
Wow.
freshwater dolphins. I don't know.
Whales. Yeah.
So
That's cool.
did you come up with all the processes like that?
No, there's other people that are smarter than me that know how to do all that stuff. So you just
But
have to
curate everything.
For me, I was like, it goes back to that mentoring and asking for people who have a lot of experience and lineage and background and understanding for feedback, advice, recommendation, learning. So if you want to learn how to tell whether 8 different powders of the same thing from different sources, which one's better, which one's got metals, which one has got some other chemical
Right.
malarkey going on with it.
Yeah.
Which one is made with maltodextrin? Which one is not? All of them are extracts. All of them are, let's say they're just for purposes of conversation, quote unquote, organic.
Yeah.
All of them are, there's differences, right? So if you, by coming into relationship with the different notes of quality and how to tell that and use your body's physical instrument of taste and smell and touch and the feeling in the body, the more sensitive a person becomes, you can actually just drink something and go like, oh, this is good for me. Oh, this is, anybody can do that. This is not this is a developed skill.
Right.
And a developed way of like learning to listen to one's body. And in a lot of ways, for me, it happened through different things, but in a lot of them, they happened through learning about tea and herbs and sun potion.
So would you recommend for people to just kind of use their own body as an instrument in terms of actually how to differentiate between different,
absolutely.
like all of these organic ones? Because Brett, we were talking about that in the car. It's like how, when everything says and is labeled the same, how do you know?
This is really important. You have to trust that person that you're buying the herbs from and have to like know that they have a like lineage or history, or it's kind of like, you have teachers? Well, at least somebody's probably keeping an eye on you.
Yeah.
If you...
So many stores have like organic cacao now, and I think it can be confusing, especially for people who are just starting out with using herbs and superfoods, and everyone's wanting to bring more of this high vibrational foods into their lives, and just knowing, you know, which ones to use and how to go about
probably
starting.
the easiest thing to do would be to just buy sun potion.
Yes. Yeah.
And then beyond that, probably the more fun thing to do would be to actually learn about each of the different plants and finding, like it can become this whole like kaleidoscope of like a hobby of learning. Oh, okay, organic cacao, cool. So I'm standing in the Air One aisle, and there's 20 different bags of organic cacao. It's kind of a commodity, right?
Right.
Because the only distinguishing factor, if we just use descriptives of organic cacao, are price. And maybe how you feel when you look at the label and the box and the bag and the whatever it's in. Or maybe the brand that you have developed a relationship or an understanding of, and so you choose to trust that brand. But beyond that, the cacao from Madagascar that is organic and baked and not raw is going to show up. It's going to be there, and there'll be, whereas like the cacao, so you could have some relatively low vibrational thing that's sold as a commodity on the open market that has been treated in ways that maybe aren't preserving the absolute nuanced best attributes of that plant material. If you get sun potion, we could, on a conversational level, we could talk about every one of the products.
Right.
It would take hours. We could probably talk for days, and I could like tell you why it's that one thing is better than what else I can find on the market. But like for sun potion cacao, it's heirloom criollo, Oribe Nacional, it's not labeled biodynamic because Demeter has a thing. Yeah. But it's been gone through the biodynamic certification process and got the 2 thumbs up. They just don't carry the certificate for it. But
so Demeter is actually the ones that give the biodynamic certifications, right? Okay, yeah.
There's only one certified.
Right, yeah. I learned that in wine school.
So, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wine school. That would be an interesting way to learn about plants, right?
It was really cool.
So you're probably learning about like the elementals of where the plant is growing and then how that reflects through the flavor notes.
Like even if there's like a vine growing like near the sea, like you'll be able to taste the salt from the groundwater, and so you can. That's how all these sommeliers can actually really differentiate, is because they know the notes and where these things are growing. I mean, it's like the most crazy amount of knowledge. Like I have so much respect for people that study it because 1, it's an art form, but 2, it's also learning about earth and like how things are, how many different kind of creative concoctions you can have just by where something's grown and what kind of plant and how you've tended to it and how old the vines are. It's crazy. It's beautiful.
Wrap
really.
your head around this one.
Yeah.
That's one plant.
That's one plant.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I
Yes.
know. And it's all over. And it's just.
And there's millions of growers all around the world that
Yeah.
are doing their
Different
unique
things.
thing
Yeah.
to do the best thing that they possibly can of that thing.
Yeah.
We'll just
And-
trust and say that that's true.
Yes. Yes.
And so it's like there's an example of like the multitude of variants
Yes.
that go into creating something that's special and carries qualities and carries frequency and carries a high vibe and it actually makes it makes you feel good for a bunch of different reasons. Like maybe there's a frequency thing, maybe there's a nutritional thing, maybe there's a chemical presence or lack of certain chemistries.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a
yeah.
So many things.
Yeah.
maybe it's the branding, maybe it's the person behind the brand,
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's the vibe of the owner, whether they're
There's so many things.
selfish or
Mhm.
or helpful.
Yeah.
So many
There's so
things.
much it goes into it. It's really wild. You can study it for years.
But it's a hologram, right? It's
Yeah.
like this for everything.
So
Yeah.
true.
And it's this tiny little company, this one little project we can use again. It's like a reflection point. You just look through the monocle, use it as a filter. You can I can overlay. People can overlay. Like if they get one really clear color, patterned geometry that they can use to see the world through, that is open enough and inclusive enough to be able to be adapted and grown and changed, but also has principles and things
Right.
guiding kind of qualities to it. You can talk about biology. You can
Yeah.
talk about race cars. You can talk about
Everything.
forklift. You can talk about tea. You can
Yeah.
talk about bespoke suits. I mean, you can talk about all these things through these filters.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think at least we've found, as you raise your vibration and your awareness levels and spend time more and more with yourself, you're able to attract higher vibrational things and appreciate and be more aware of all of these nuances and energy that go into everything that you're consuming. And then you can just have higher and higher quality things in your life. And then that's when you attract higher and higher quality people and things and knowledge and experiences. And
My vibe is rising so high right now. You guys came over, we get to hang out and be friends. This is so cool.
right? It's really cool.
It is true. Yeah.
I must be doing really good.
But I think, so the one thing I would like to know, although I know it would take days for you to explain all of it, could you just kind of give an example of how you find, one product?
thing?
Because there must be so much energy and love to go into that.
There's some of it is sometimes you could say some things are really hard to find, and you could also say that you don't even have to find them.
They just come to you. Yeah.
The thing, example of the matcha,
Yeah.
this white dragon matcha, that the farmer would call it Shenron Bancha, which is all of the divine or all of the unity of all things in the tea.
Okay.
Oh,
So
that's
you
a
can
cool name.
experience all things through, or you can experience the cosmos or the divine through the tea. But how did we find that? We didn't find it. It's not findable. At least that one wasn't. That was like a gift from spirit, really. Went to Japan to see friends' wedding, Japanese friends who always loved Sun Pushin, who showed up early on at a local fermentation festival here. Super sweet, really nice Japanese couple. Lived in Topanga for a while. Would go back and forth. Japan loves California and California loves Japan. There's this total love and affinity and seduction and joy and celebration of back and forth. It's like ping pong, oh, I love you. Oh, I love you more. Oh, I love you too. And so I had that bug a little bit. And so having a friendship and a relationship with this couple, was able to go and was invited to their wedding. And I mean, Nitsa and I were the only blonde folks there. And these guys, Taiichi and Yumi, are really into deep kind of mystical, shamanistic, very old interpretation of Shintoism, which is like mystical and nature reverential, and in fact has like a lot of interesting overlays with like trinities and Merkabic like six-sided stars. And so anyways, these, but these guys there's like a modern reverence for Shintoism where you like go and you clap and you do these like kind of recited things, and there's a little bit of like, it's kind of like going and visiting the park. Okay. These guys were like way out in the multidimensional like ether star family kind of experience of the Shinto things, and it's pretty cool. So to get to learn about it through them, and as well like be invited to their wedding in this very, very inner kind of temple, like the unity temple of these other three major Trinity temples. So, and not in high mountains, but in like deep mountains, all ryokan, onsen, multiple different onsen a day for like, and then after the wedding, we ended up, and they're both traditional, all this stuff. We're in the inside chamber of the temple. It's really cool. And basically we went and traveled with them, and I brought this idea of like, do you think we could like find some really special matcha while we're going around in these areas? Because I knew there was matcha being grown and some of that. And they went, oh yeah, we could, maybe we'll find something. So they had heard about this woman, and we were somewhat near the town where she was in. So we like, they contacted her. She like happened to answer the phone when apparently she never does. And we went there, we sat with her and talked to her. They kind of helped vet us. Everybody'd be talking Japanese, and then I'd be like, what's going on? And they'd say like 2 sentences, and then they'd keep talking. And so basically that farmer was only selling to this matcha school. And she like basically, when we must have kind of passed the test with her, and she brought us to that school, we did like tea ceremonies with them. They talked about everything. Then the school like agreed to let us buy the material, the matcha, the Shenron Bancho.
You just wouldn't.
The like unity of all things in your cup of tea.
Oh, jeez. Wow. So this is like, you just,
this is incredible.
You wouldn't have been able to find this.
And we called it White Dragon Matcha because we had climbed this White Dragon mountain the day before and had some really beautiful like experiences of nature, the divine, the spirit,
all of it,
all the things.
And so
it's
you
like
were
the
able to
veil is
experience
so
the
thin.
tea.
You're just like all go just fuzzing between ether and substance.
That led
it was
you
a very
to the
wonderful
White Dragon
couple of
matcha
weeks in Japan.
Oh, sounds like it.
So you would not have been able to find that had to not kind of.
There's no finding that.
Yeah, there's no
and then
finding
even
that.
if we had been, even if we had somehow found that, I wouldn't have ever been able. I don't have an international driver's license. I don't understand Japanese. I don't understand the road signs. I don't know how to drive on the opposite side of the road.
Yeah.
This place is like this trip and this trip and this trip and this trip away from Tokyo.
Right.
Like it was not. There's no way it would have happened.
There's no way.
So how does it happen? It happens through like genuine desire to like, okay, spirit, want to play in the matcha game because we're gonna need some help here.
And just let it happen. Lead me to the matcha.
Oh my God, we're in Japan. This is where matcha comes from. And then all of a sudden you're wondering, and then it's like, and then at some point we're like going back there and we're going back there and we're like seeing these people and we have a relationship with them. And, you go back and then the farmer has a new pickup truck and, there's like stuff like that where you're like, oh, this is awesome.
To see how you're changing their life and you're intertwining energies and being able to bring that to so many people here.
Totally like genuinely, passionately, deeply invested in what they're doing, in their practice of their growing of that material, and the way that they make it into physicality so that we have access to it. It's like totally cool. They're doing natural farming, which in Japan is like basically no touch, like chop and drop. And that's it.
Chop and drop.
No amendments, no fertilization, no contributions by the farmer to the soil, to the plant, to the bugs, to the dirt, which you get dirt from a lot of conventional farming. That's how you grow dirt. Chemicalized, depleted, no soil biome, no microbial life forms in there, no carbon. I mean, it's like vapid dirt. That is how you get dirt. This is soil that is so aerated you can like scoop your hands down into it and you pick it up and it like smells so good you want to rub it all over your face, and then you pause for a moment to look at it and there's the entire thing is moving because the soil biome, the microbiome is so kicking.
Wow.
It's like
That's
and everything
cool.
smells good.
Yeah.
It's like radical.
So he's like chopping it and dropping it and letting it compost into soil.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's all that's going on there. So you're getting the mineralization of the soil in the forest floor, and that's the present that reflects through the flavor profile in the matcha, which is so sensitive that if you were using contributions, which is so common, conventional, even organic matcha, they're going to like do things to make it grow, to protect it, to augment and support the soil, to make it produce more. This is like not that.
No,
this is
the
just
focus is on having the most genuine reflection of that plant in a reverential and like careful way that respects the plant, that understands the plant, that has a relationship with it through the farmer, that then we get to have an association, a relationship with, a friendship with that person. And then what's really cool is then somebody in Culver City ends up picking it up off the
That's awesome.
Earth Bar,
pretty miraculous.
Brentwood, shelf or something.
To hear that whole story, and that's only one, that's only the matcha. It's like that does really show how cool the whole process is and how miraculous it is to be able to consume this stuff in somewhere like Culver City or wherever you're living.
Well, there's a lot of details, right? But it's actually not that much but if you think about it, like how much work can you possibly do if you're fully immersed in something all the time?
Yes.
And then years start going by and then there starts to be enough momentum where you can engage with other people to do work on the company's behalf. And then, you start getting, we have me plus one. You can do 3 or 4 times as much work. Me plus 3. All of a sudden, we're doing a lot more than that. You start doing that, and you have people that are, I'm so grateful, willing to be committed to show up for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You can get a lot of work done.
Oh, yeah.
And so the kaleidoscope of many details can be made over many small, simple actions or something.
I love it.
But it is just beautiful that you're able to bring this high vibrational of a product to everyone now. And I don't know, it's pretty special to be able to consume this stuff and have this really at our fingertips now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm really thrilled about it. I think
Seriously.
I think that it is really special.
I feel honored to be able to have it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel honored to be able to do it as a way to interact with the world. I feel honored to do it with people like the matcha farmer.
Yeah.
I feel honored, and it's an opportunity to speak with you and with your nice people who listen to what we're talking about.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Engagement, right?
Yes. Engagement.
Yes.
We're in life here.
Yes. We're here on the planet.
Planetary humans.
Planetary beings engaged in life.
So
invested in positive influence on the rest of the...
Yes. More of that.
So more of that. Yeah. So where should people start, I guess? If they're going to, engage with Sun Potion, what's like the best way for them to kind of start doing this? Because there's so many options.
Okay, that's a really wonderful question. trust your intuition. When you look at the label and you start seeing things that somehow on a subtle level, like sort of seem like they make sense, even beyond maybe how your mental brain is thinking, oh, that makes sense. Transformational foods, but they're herbs. But I'm supposed to get my herbs in pills because that's how I take supplements, or that's how I associate with vitamins. You know, I'm saying like a psychology might think this, or a psyche. Well, no, transformational foods, these are herbs. Please relate to them as they're powerful, but relate to them as food. Use them as a means of like supporting the chemistry in your body, and do it every day. And that compliance, that practice of having them every day over time, small servings. Like we're talking small, like the last, from your knuckle to the end of your pinky, the last knuckle to the end of the fingernail, like that is a half teaspoon maybe. In volume.
I've been doing more than that.
How do you feel?
Good. But
Great.
What are you taking a whole
but that's good to know.
I've taken a lot more than that myself.
Okay.
So you can do that too.
Yeah. Cool.
The thing about it is it goes back to that discernment, listening to your body, intuition. You are your own expert.
Yes.
Love that.
How many yours are we having in that sentence?
So just kind of use their intuition to find if they should be doing like a matcha or a yin or...
We'll put some little bit of parameters so that makes it easier. Okay, here's the other thing. So make yourself something that you like to drink. It could be warm. It doesn't need to be hot. It could be cool. It doesn't have to be. In the morning, warm things, warm and creamy things, yummy, warm things that are creamy and not
Delicious.
Sweet and yummy. Like something that makes you feel good when you get excited when you have it. Like an oat milk latte, yum. Or like a chai spice, something with macadamia nut,
Milk.
yum.
Yeah. Yum.
You know, like something that you get excited where you're like, I like that. And then if you can have it be, if you have that in your day, in your morning already, that's great. I think everybody has something. And so the easiest thing to do would be to just start with that thing that you already have, that's your special thing you do, and just start adding a half teaspoon or a teaspoon of one herb. Some people get excited and they get 5 of them all at once. But if you start with 1 or 2 or a couple, you can just look at the website, or you can ask your friends, like, what are the properties of this thing? So, reishi mushroom, helpful for immune support or balancing immune system. Mucuna pruriens, great for the nervous system and mood and joy.
Yeah.
Pine pollen, good for hormone balance and being like assertive and more in your body and more like in your power. I want all those things. So I'm going to have those 3 things in my tea.
Yeah.
So you can look at the Sun Potion website, or you can again ask your friend, like, what does this do? Or if you look at the products on the website, there'll be the name of the herb, and right underneath there's like a little layman's term, kind of made up pseudonym, an alias to the herb.
Okay, I like that.
Astragalus, great protector. What does it mean? Well, it means what it sounds like it means. It's a protective, supportive, protective herb. If you want something more for your brain to chew on, you could read and learn that that's like nourishing the Wei Qi in the body, which is like the protective layer of your immune system that's outside of your skin. It helps with circulation. It helps with blockages and stagnation. So if you have a bruise or something, or if you have some area where there's just kind of some stagnant energy, it'll go and start circulating and moving through there. It's good for posture because it helps to restore fluid flow to the organs so they start to float in the torso. Protector, great protector. Like, we didn't say any of that in great protector, but if you can get an idea and a feel just off of, like, make it fun. Trust your like kid inside of your behind, not your mind, but your kind of almost playful subconscious. Playful self-conscious?
Yeah.
Self-conscious. Self-conscious.
Yeah.
Self-conscious.
Have a playful self-conscious about the way that you show up in the world.
So fun. Awesome. well, that's so helpful. I'm so excited for more people to find you and try your stuff and to just use your tips and put this more and more, into their routines.
If you wanted to try just one thing, you could try Mucuna pruriens. It's probably my favorite herb. It's got a very like tangible, kind of felt positive experience. It's good for the mood. It elevates the mood. It's soothing to the nervous system. It's like very broad in the sense of anyone could take it. We have people that give it to their children.
Okay.
Deep in the sense of it's incredibly powerful, supportive for the nervous system. Even so much as like the same material is used as the #1 natural treatment for Parkinson's.
Wow.
Because it's a standardized 15% levodopa. So this L-dopa is the immediate chemical precursor to dopamine. So it's like, there's like a fun aspect where I get to feel good.
Yeah.
But there's like something more going on underneath.
Yeah.
What is it? You don't really need to know. It's just good for you. But if you want to know, you can like do an enormous amount. There's all kinds of research out there. You want to get really into your brain, you can go to like PubMed, publicmedicalrecords.org, or you can go to nih.gov, National Institute of Health. Just type in Mucuna pruriens. Boom. And there's like 100 research articles that show up from pharma about the herbs, because they reverse engineer nature to like make synthesized molecules that then they can make into pharma. So which is kind of cool.
Kind of cool.
Like,
if it's a positive one.
The pharma is like the kind of weird grandchildren of the herbs or something.
So true. I love that. Well, everybody should take that one, I think.
I know. I was hearing about that one. I'm like, I think I need that for sure. I just like something that like helps the nervous system and like not feel so. Does it help you not feel so like wired a little bit? Or like
that little crunchy stress bit that sometimes people get on.
I feel like a lot of people
get on like traffic or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
that just
it is
helps,
crunchy.
like,
it's a crunchy.
Soothe that like wiry, like a little bit like electric.
Yeah.
I saw this man the other day, like so angry, more angry than I've probably ever seen anybody in so long, just because somebody in front of him wasn't moving fast enough the other day in the car. And I like rolled down the window and I was like, calm down.
No, that's dangerous.
Because I just didn't know what to do. But it's real out there. It's kind of...
See, we find these avenues because we have this internal like existential situation.
Yes.
Call it frustration, not knowing. In some people's case, it might be full on rage, like this guy. And so we look for like ways to like move stuff that's underneath the surface out. And
definitely.
Something will trigger.
You had a little something going on there too, because you got engaged and you were like, hey, you be calm over there.
I know. I was like, I probably shouldn't have said that, but I was just shocked.
So his little guy, like kind of, and then your little one, like kind of had an opportunity to find that one. And so there's like this cascade. So what we want to do with all these tea and herbs, you take your daily potion and then he like creates this transmutation of some of those little
It's
things.
so needed. Yeah. The whole world needs it.
Like that guy could be taking sun potion and he may not even know that when, as time is going by, he starts like feeling better, starts being nicer to his kids, starts having better lovemaking with his wife, starts like showing up at work and being nice to his coworkers.
Yeah.
Starts giving his family the sun potion. All of them the kids start doing better in school. The kids don't have to be on drugs to pay attention.
It's just a domino effect.
By the way, none of this is medical. This is all like just chemistry.
It's from the plant. It's from the earth.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to make it really clear though to people if they're listening that like these herbs are not offering any kind of medical solution.
Right.
They're really not helpful for that. There are things that you want to take so that these are prior prepper planning prevents piss poor experience.
Yeah.
That's performance.
That's what we're all about.
Yeah, we feel like that about Kundalini, especially too. It's like
meditation.
It's all like preventative care and we talk about this. I've been talking about this a lot, and I don't feel like the world so far. I mean, I think maybe more in LA and more in our communities, but there isn't like a real value around being healthy and happy and feeling good. It's like not this like valued thing the way I think it should be. I think it's getting there. But I think it's interesting because I see it and it's like starting to be a little bit more, especially in my world, obviously, but it's kind of crazy to me. It's like these things are all preventative things so you can feel good always. And it's like, but people are like, whatever. But why? Why do we do that?
What if there was a new trend that we created where people started noticing and acknowledging and talking about ways that they're like genuinely creating happiness for themselves and sharing that with other people.
Yes.
And then this thing of like, wow, isn't that cool? Becomes like, wow, that person's so cool. They're so happy.
Right?
They're so happy that they make other people happy being around them.
Definitely.
They're so happy that, I mean, there's this girl at the Calabasas Air One that is like working at the checkout counter named Skylar, who is like so freaking happy. It's amazing.
I love it.
And I mean, I'm pretty happy, but like if I go through her line every time, I leave the store like laughing and just feeling great.
So
It's so contagious.
It's a
such
part
a
of
valued
her
thing.
gift that she's here to like be like that.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It's really cool. And I love that. It's like we should be putting more value on that for sure.
She's like, if I had to guess, she maybe is like 19 years old.
Yeah.
She's like a young like master of happiness.
Seriously. Master of happiness. Let's all be masters of happiness. Seriously.
Good job if you're out there, Skylar.
Yes. Find Scott. Well, we have two last questions that we always ask. So one is, what is your favorite way to elevate yourself?
If we're talking on a like, just on a physical level, like when I like feeling lifted is when I'm driving my Porsche race car.
You do love that thing. It's
I
cool.
love it.
I saw it right out front.
Yeah.
It's pretty badass.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's super loud.
Is it?
It's not street legal. But
Do you drive
I
it in the street
on the
anyway?
street all the time.
Oh,
Shh, don't tell
I know.
me.
Jeez.
But
Don't
like,
tell your secrets.
Is there significance in the 91?
Or is 19?
Oh, sorry, 19.
It was just a good year.
Okay.
It was like very like glorious sun year in my experience and history.
Yeah, okay.
You think about 19, you're like just like kind of emerging out of childhood into becoming a young adult.
Mm.
I was at that time like a beast when it came to like endurance sports. And so I was on the U.S. triathlon team when I was 19. I had a bunch of really good travel when I was 19.
Oh, fun.
Golden moments. All along the way, right?
Yeah.
We get to have these golden moments
Well,
all
and
along
next year
the
is
way.
2019, so I wonder if that'll be a good year for you. It'll probably be the best year yet.
Whoa.
Why not?
2019 and Car 19. Sun
love
Potion
it.
Race Team. If you didn't notice the Sun Potion livery on the back of the car.
I did see that.
There's wings. We've got wings on the
You're
car.
gonna have it. You race it, right?
Yeah.
You do race it, right?
Yeah. 2 weekends ago, I just had to have it trailered home for the second time in a row because I broke the front axle while I was racing it. It was so sad. I was like, oh, again, why? And I call my mother, and she goes on the sun like the day afterwards, and I had spent all this time in the heat trying to get the thing home. And I called my mom, and I'm like, oh, Mom, I broke the car again, and I broke it last time too, and it took 2.5 months the first time, and now she goes, oh, honey, it's going to be okay. She goes, you might break it 3 times in a row, but then you might have a great streak for like 10 times.
There you go. Oh, I like your mom.
I do too.
So
then
sweet.
she adds, just because she's extra sweet, she says, and you could always just upgrade your car too if you didn't want.
Oh my gosh.
If you didn't want to take any chances.
Such
And I'm
an
like,
abundant mama.
whoa, Mom, like, let me just write that down because I think that's the most wise advice I've ever heard from you.
Just upgrade the car.
So why is it so exciting?
Yeah.
It is like full open all the floodgates for all of your like cortisol and stress chemicals and stuff that in a modern world where even though we have a nice thing we're doing here, sometimes things are stressful. It's okay. Some of that can get like lodged places. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Driving the car is like a full adrenaline, full body experience. And so, there's times where you're driving and you're incredibly calm, and there's times where you're driving and like my whole body is like bouncing because there's so much chemistry that's going on in the body. And they say sometimes in racing, and I think it's a really good cross-reference to life, which is, let me see if I can get this right. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Slow is fast. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. Slow is fast. So you can go out and you can be driving, but you want to be like driving the car in a way that doesn't imbalance the car. You're not throwing into the gas. You're not throwing into the brake. You're not racking on the wheel.
For life.
You're not imbalancing the car. You're not like doing things to disturb the direction that, there's times where you're going up and over a hill basically, and then you have to have the car pivoted and you're going in a different direction when you kind of get a little off the ground and you need to be going that way.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the like line to gracefully move the car in a slow, smooth, fast way, that's like sensitive to the car, sensitive to your surroundings. This is like full wheel-to-wheel racing, by the way, too.
Oh my gosh.
There's like 40 people on the track at a time.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So there's like lots of rules, lots of etiquette. There's a decor. There's like a candor that that's expected of everybody that's out there because it's expensive.
Yes.
It's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
And it's good to have everyone be really safe. So
yeah, I actually grew up watching racing. My dad, it's the only sport he watches. I would wake up on Saturday mornings and there'd be like races on and be like, oh, here he goes again.
your dad
Sometimes he'd be on like at like
just great
4 a.m. and it'd be like, oh geez, Dad, you've been out for a while.
And he has
just
a
had to
Porsche
see
too.
it. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
The red one, right?
He has a blue one now.
Okay.
I don't know.
A blue one of what?
Yeah, it's a Porsche. I don't know what it is.
Oh, that's great.
I do like to drive them though because they're fun. I love the way they sound. I love cars. I really do. And he taught me how to drive a stick shift when I was young because he was like, you need to learn how to drive this. He was worried that, I'd be out with friends in high school and they'd be drunk and I wouldn't be, and I would need to drive the car home. So he taught me how to drive it when I was a kid.
Or you find yourself in some truck stop in South Dakota and you just have to get in that big rig and drive it back to Denver or who knows,
drive any cool like sports car. You need to know how to use it.
These are important life skills.
He was like, this is important. And I actually do agree.
Yeah.
It is a good life skill.
Thing to
Yeah.
know.
I can drive it. Yeah.
And it seems so graceful the way that you describe it.
It does. Yeah.
It is. It's like and it is. And it's like brutal and violent and like aggressive.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's all these things. So
all at the same time.
Yeah.
And you consume the car. You like are putting new tires on the car all the time. You're like breaking things on the car all the time because it's hard on the car. But it's for me, it's been a really interesting learning of like the balance of the grace and the brutality of the dance of how to go around the track on the car.
It's like a nice metaphor for life. Like you can go fast, but you have to go slow and steady at the same time. And that's how you go fast. So you don't break anything and you're not pushing the pedal too hard, pushing the brake. You're not like all the way.
Yeah, and we all know people that do that shit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, I will say I used to do that a lot where it was like, forward. And then I'd be like, I can't do anything for like 4 days. It's like, that's actually not helpful at all.
Yeah, we stay up too late. We get too excited about something. We get like, we find a new person that we want to go on a date with, and then we go overboard, and then, or we go out with friends and we go overboard, or we, like too much of, or like disturbing the vehicle of your life. I mean, then it throws, you end up off the track, and something that happens when you go off the track, you get these little karmas, like in that they make you race with the windows open.
Oh.
So that you can see the driver and also so you can get out if you need to. But the track is all dirt around the track. So if you go off the track It's like snow shovels full of dirt that's like this fine powder. And as you're spinning through the dirt, it's like snow shovels full of this dirt is literally getting thrown in the window.
Oh, yeah.
And covering the whole car and covering every inch of the inside.
Oh my God.
And you have to clean it up.
So that's
yeah,
incentive
totally.
to
That's
stay
your
on the
karma.
track.
Go clean up your car.
I don't want to swallow dirt today.
You went out with your friends. You were thinking you were going to have a good time. You put all this chemistry in your body that wasn't good for you. And then you put too much of it. Now you have all this dirt in your car.
And you have to clean it up.
And you went spinning out. You thought you were so cool, but now you're like, now you have a headache the next day. And this is kind of like life.
Yeah.
So true.
It is life. I like that. So, okay, our last question is, so if you had a microphone in your hand, which you do, I need to rephrase that, and the whole world was listening to you, what would your message be to everyone listening in the world?
Show up, be nice, be of service, tell the truth, don't be afraid to love.
Oh, I love it. You love the ad at the end there. Well, thank you so much for being on the elevator, Scott.
Yes.
And thank you for having us here at your home. It's beautiful.
That's such a pleasure to have you both here. And thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing all your good work.
You too.
Thank you.
Woo!
Did you guys love that episode?
We had so much fun with Scott, and we loved everything he shared, and we're really, as we can continue on this journey, we're incorporating more and more high quality foods, high vibrational foods into our diet and into our everyday lives. And what I really enjoyed was how Scott mentioned how he sources these herbs that he doesn't really go find them. They kind of just find him, and they're very high quality sources, places that you wouldn't be able to find them by doing all this hardcore research, which to me sounds very much like he's aligned all the time in attracting these things to him. So he doesn't have to do a lot of work for it, right? Like he's just attracting it and then acting upon it, which is great manifesting. But then also how he can, have access these higher levels of consciousness by ingesting herbs and like everyday tonics, like in your coffee in the morning, in your teas in the morning, putting them in your foods or in anything that you really like to have every morning, and just adding more herbs to it, these high quality herbs, you can experience heightened levels of consciousness, or higher levels of consciousness. I guess the same thing, higher levels of consciousness. Yeah.
So true. It's such a great way to raise your vibration, and it's just another tool to do that. And we want as many tools in our life to raise our vibration as possible. And so to know that, Sun Potion products are so high vibe and high quality, and just so much love and connection with the people that, they're getting the herbs from is really, really, really nice to hear. And it makes me feel really good when I'm drinking it in the morning.
Yeah.
And the other thing I really liked is just the ritual around tea.
Yeah.
Like we had tea at Scott's, and, we've been doing more tea ceremony and just bringing in more ritual into our lives. And, we talked about just high quality things in the episode, and just having, high quality rituals and having a lot of beauty in things that you love, whether it be things that you're doing or material possessions or things that you're eating in your life. It really is a huge way to raise your vibration and your consciousness when we are feeling really good and having joy around everything that we're surrounded by in our environment.
I will say, I was inspired from our discussion and went home and like cleared out my closet and like cleaned out my pantries and like just kind of moved some things out of my everyday life that were no longer really matching my vibration. So
you got rid of your Keurig.
I did. And I got rid of the TV, and I like fully rid of it. Like I had said I was going to get rid of it before, but like,
And you got a new car.
And I got a new car. So it was very inspiring, right? It was a wonderful day. I had so much fun. I felt so much energy, and it was just like I left like so inspired. So thank you, Scott. And
we hope you guys loved listening to our conversation, and we're also inspired by it. So on that note, should we get into our lobby talk?
Yes. What should we talk about in the lobby talk today? Well, I think, what's been coming up for both of us is really this sense of balance. So we have just entered, Uranus has just entered into Taurus. It's like a big thing. It hasn't happened in 84 years. And it happened on May 15th, 2018. So we've just moved into this energy. Uranus is the great awakener. And in Taurus, it's really focused on coming in to break the paradigms around our security and the way that we value security and the way we value ourselves, and also our material wealth and our finances are all kind of getting like looked at, I would say, awakened. Upheaval is brought with Uranus, and also miracles and sort of expecting the unexpected. So, with Britt and I, we're feeling this energy quite a bit. And it's like with all of this kind of shakeup, we find that right now, more than ever, it's we were really focusing on what we want to happen, right? Because there's a lot of people that can go into, like drastic mode, like the stock market might like blow up or the housing market might blow up, whatever.
Because this is actually when the Great Depression happened 84 years ago, the last time Uranus was in Taurus.
But, we don't have to go down that route, right? Like it can be, what do we want, right? So we're focusing very much on what we want. But in the same regard, we need to be very balanced about this. Like we have to kind of enter in this energy in a very balanced way. So we're able to make really good decisions. We're not burnt out. We can clearly hear the guidance that we're receiving to kind of move forward and sort of surrender and be open to the change that is coming, right? So if we're off balance, it's like we're not going to make the greatest decisions.
So true.
So, that's what's been coming up a lot. And it's really important to really take the time for yourself. You were actually saying that you saw something, what was it about having one day off a week at least?
Yeah, so we were watching 60 Minutes, which I think is an older demographic, but we watch it every once in a while. And the Pope was on there. I actually really liked him. The Pope seemed freaking awesome.
He's a badass Pope.
I want to hang out with him and have him on the pod.
We should just manifest it.
Right? So anyway.
Anyone knows the Pope, can you give us a good contact?
We'll teach him some breath work.
Yeah, he would be totally down.
Totally.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
That would get like our breath of fire tour really off on the right foot.
Yeah, no, he's super progressive. And he was actually, there's a filmmaker doing a documentary with him in his life. And he was really open about everything. And it was cool to watch. So they did a segment on the actual documentary, but they showed some pieces of it. And the Pope was saying that, the reason why a lot of religions, like the Jewish religion, has Shabbat, which is Saturdays where they don't work. And, other religions take off Sunday. And it's kind of been just something that's been an ancient practice to take at least one day off, is because of how necessary it is to have at least one day. He was like, at least one day a week where you're actually just connecting to you. You're not working and you're really spending time giving back to yourself and really just relaxing. So, as entrepreneurs and just as busy humans, a lot of us with families and just with so much going on in general, sometimes we forget how important that is. So it was a nice reminder. And, we're just always coming back to balance and working to be more and more balanced. And that's a big part of this lifestyle. So,
right. We always talk about our chakras being balanced, and we always talk about our masculine and feminine being balanced.
Yep.
And so we want everything to be balanced. Now, Britt and I both have a lot of Libra in our charts, which is the scales, the balance, right? So we're striving for that always, but also to have as much life force energy in the body as possible while we strive for the balance, because this is how we continue to elevate, continue to move forward, and really bring in so much new energy and manifest whatever we need, it's like you got to come from a very balanced approach.
Yeah, with a lot of energy.
With a lot of energy.
Like you have to have enough energy to feel really good, to continue on in a powerful, balanced way.
Right.
So, that's why we're so committed to our practice. That's why we really do follow this astrology and work in harmony with the energy that's available to us on the planet, because just like we generate energy in our bodies, we can work and align with the energy of the planets and what's going on to help give us more energy.
Right. So, and also like, who's excited for this massive change that's going to happen in Taurus? Like, I think it's so cool.
It's huge.
I just think it's like a massive up-leveling for humanity. It's an opportunity to up-level.
Yeah. So it's going to
if you choose to focus on up-leveling.
Yes.
Right?
So that's what we're all doing. Every single person listening.
Right. What do you want to up-level in terms of your security, financial situation, your self-worth, your self-love? What do you want to up-level?
Yeah.
Do you want to up-level all of it? Because you can.
Yes.
You should.
And
why not?
Right? We did a new moon / Uranus and Taurus class last week for sadhana at 5:30 a.m. in our 528 Academy. And we were really working with this energy. So the replay's in there for all the 528 members. And if you're interested with aligning with this energy with us, definitely hop on into our free trial for 528 Academy. But that really is what it's all about. We're aligning and harmonizing with the energy in our bodies, in our minds, in our lives, and with what's going on the planet. And this stuff is big. I mean, we're going to see a lot of cool stuff happening as a global society.
We are. Like Uranus and Taurus is going to affect societies. It's going to affect cultures. It's going to affect currencies. It's going to affect, like we see this with like cryptocurrency kind of already starting to come up. It's like technology now in finance. And then also we're going to see it in our food, because Taurus is like the earthiest of the earth signs, and it really is connected to the planet. So how we're really farming our food, making the sustainability factor on all fronts is going to be such a huge focus, and technology that supports it. Like I actually saw recently, there's a boat that goes out and cleans up trash from one of the rivers, I think on the East Coast somewhere. And I'm like, this is the kind of thing that we're going to be seeing more of, more electric cars, more solar panels on houses. It's going to be like the normal thing to have gardens in your backyard. It's like, this is the kind of thing that's coming with this energy. So it's really cool. Like if you have these ideas and it's really going to help humanity, because we're in the age of Aquarius, the age of all oneness, right? So you have an idea that's going to help the planet heal, help humanity come together as one. This is really supported right now. So it's like, take these ideas and go with them, up-level your life.
Yeah. If you
totally
have
up-level.
If you have an idea, it's coming to you because it wants to be created. So
it does.
You can choose to create it or not, but most likely, it'll go to somebody else if you don't choose to create it. And you, of course, don't have to choose every idea that comes, but
no, because there's a lot of them.
There's a lot
when
of them.
When you tap in, there's endless ideas. So.
But it is really cool.
Yeah.
So, we encourage you guys to tap into this beautiful energy. Another cool tip that we have to align with this Taurus energy, especially as we're working with finances, is to really put aside time every week and make it a really nice, beautiful practice to do your budgets and do your finances and light some candles, play some mantras, do some Palo Santo, make a sun pushing latte, whatever
make it a ritual.
Yeah, make it a ritual and just bring joy into it and, do whatever you can to really put in positive energy to your fulfillment, your abundance in all areas, finance, health,
and
love.
Be open to change, because it's going to happen in these areas.
So true.
It will. And it's not always a bad thing, change. This is miracles too.
I think it's always a good thing.
I think it's always a good thing too.
Always upgrading.
Always.
Never downgrade.
No, it's really hard to downgrade.
Yeah. But it's all about our perceptions.
Exactly.
A technical downgrade could actually be an upgrade.
Okay, we could go on about that for sure. So well, you just opened a little portal, Britt.
So we hope you guys loved this lobby talk and all of this Uranus talk. I like the word Uranus.
Oh, you're such an 8th grader. Britt was like laughing. She and Justin were actually making jokes about it the day that we had the new moon gathering, and we were dying recording this podcast talking about it. It's like, my gosh, we have middle school humor.
Save Uranus. So definitely check out our link below for Thrive Market and our Sun Potion Latte and all of our favorite things. And then if you are loving the elevator, if you loved this episode and haven't yet, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast and send us a screenshot to the elevator at elevatetheglobe.com and we'll send you our magic morning ritual. So we love you so much. We're so obsessed with all of you and we're so grateful to our Elevate the Globe community and all of our elevator listeners.
So may the pure light within you guide your way on.
Sat Nam.
Sat Nam.
Get your herb on. Chicka, 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 chicka.
No.
No.
Oh, no. I told her that she could do whatever she wanted and I unleashed her. This was what you get. It's okay.
Herb power.
Yeah.
Woo! Herbs unite.
Oh, man.
I could go on.
Yeah. We love you.